If you've ever felt disappointed or frustrated trying to capture every tiny detail perfectly, you are not alone. In this video, I want to share why realistic drawings might not be the best path for you and why exploring abstract art could completely free your creativity. I'll be covering why perfectionism can shut down your motivation, how abstract art breaks those constraints, and simple steps to get started. By the end of this video, you'll see how letting go of realism can actually open up a whole new world of artistic expression. Realistic art can be absolutely stunning, but it also sets up some pretty rigid expectations. Maybe you're trying to draw a portrait of a friend or replicate a photograph. The moment your lines or shading are even slightly off, you notice because it doesn't look exactly right. That gap between what you envisioned and what ends up on the paper can be demoralizing. I remember a time in pregnancy when I spent my entire weekend painting a landscape in watercolors. No matter how much I refined it, something seemed off. Maybe it was the proportions, maybe the shadows. I compared my work to professional artists online and thought, I'll never be that good. It was heart-wrenching, and it nearly made me quit drawing altogether. When you're constantly striving for perfection, you might start to feel overwhelmed and anxious. Instead of enjoying the artistic process, you end up hanging on every tiny detail. This kind of stress can suck the joy right out of creating art. With realistic art, there's often a looming fear of failure. What if my painting doesn't look like the original? This fear is a massive creativity killer. It can't stop you from experimenting or taking risks because you're always worried about getting it wrong. Another thing, when you're so focused on mimicking reality, you might not realize you're losing a chance to express something uniquely you. There's nothing wrong with realism as a style, but if it's not resonating with your inner voice, you're missing out on discovering your own creative language. In simplest terms, abstract art breaks away from representing reality as we see it. It's about shapes, colors, textures, and emotions rather than perfect proportions and precise details. Think of it as capturing the essence or mood of something instead of the exact form. Abstract art frees you from the pressure of realism. There's no mistake in a shape being too big or a color looking off. Instead, every brush stroke or pencil mark is a part of an expressive journey. You get to play with colors, lines, and forms that feel right to you in the moment. Abstract art can be incredibly therapeutic. You pour your feelings onto the canvas: joy, anger, curiosity, without worrying whether it looks like a vase or a face. It becomes about how art makes you and your viewer feel. Some people say, I'm just not the creative type. But creativity isn't a talent reserved for a select few. It's a muscle that grows stronger with practice. Abstract art is a fantastic way to exercise that muscle because it eliminates the rigid rules we think we have to follow. In abstract art, imperfection is part of the charm. That means every mistake can become a unique detail that makes your artwork special. When you let go of the fear of messing up, you'll be amazed by what flows out of you. You don't need expensive supplies to experiment with abstract art. Grab some paper, a canvas if you have one, and any paints or drawing tools you like. Acrylics, watercolors, crayons, markers, or even coffee if you're feeling adventurous. Pick 2 or 3 colors you love. Lay them down in random shapes or sections. Mix them, layer them, let them overlap. Notice how your mood changes with different color combinations. Use a sponge, an old toothbrush, a palette knife, anything that can make interesting marks. Build layers, let them dry, then add more. Each layer adds depth and mystery to your piece. Set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes and paint or draw without thinking. Don't plan, just let your hand move across the surface. You might surprise yourself with the shapes and patterns that emerge. Almost every piece of abstract art goes through a phase where you might think, this looks awful. Don't give up. Keep going. Add new layers, make bold changes if you like it. That so-called ugly phase is often the beginning of something truly unique. Every so often, step back from your artwork. Look at it from a different angle, even upside down. You might see new possibilities or interesting focal points that you hadn't noticed. Even in abstract art, a sense of balance can make your piece feel more harmonious. Consider contrasting colors, big versus small shapes, and light versus dark areas. But remember, there are no strict rules, just guidelines you can tweak to fit your vision. Once you feel like you're nearly done, look for areas that could use a pop of color or a hint of texture. These small additions can make your piece look intentional and complete. So, if you've been struggling with the demands of realistic art, give yourself the permission to step away from those roots. Abstract art offers a playground for experimentation, self-discovery, and yes, imperfection. Let your intuition guide you and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Let your intuition guide you and don't be afraid of making mistakes. If this video inspired you, hit that like button and share it with anyone you know who might be stuck in that perfectionism trap. Drop a comment below, let me know if you tried abstract art before and how it made you feel. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more creative tips and art inspiration. I can't wait to see what you create. Thanks for spending time with me today. Keep experimenting, keep exploring, and remember, art should be fun and freeing. Until next time, happy creating!